Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel. It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite May 27, 2026 review. My thoughts on this show, it was actually pretty darn good. I thought they touched on a lot of good stories, important stories, may I add, and they had some pretty good wrestling on tonight. You guys might be wondering, where the fuck is Monday Night Raw review? Usually I do it on a Monday or Tuesday. I actually did not do it at all. I watched it, and boy, did I feel like I was watching a rinse and repeat of the same shit. Same dialogue, same everything. I mean, I'll give you guys a review on it tomorrow. Definitely, because I'm not going to have anything going on. I'm just going to clean up the house before I start doing the review. I may watch SmackDown after I do this review, see how that was, which not expecting much from it. Probably 2 hours of time wasted for no good reason, but I will watch it anyway just for the sake of watching it. I may cover that here on the channel tomorrow as well, and do both of those videos. No guarantees though, don't hold me up to it, so if I don't upload it, you know why. It's just I chose not to. Raw, I definitely am going to. I always do a Raw review. I just didn't cover it like I normally do. But yeah, it was kind of the same old shit. But Dynamite was not shit. Dynamite was actually a fairly decent, good show. I actually did not have any issues with it. I had a good time watching this show. At least 2 hours of it. I'm not watching the third hour. Fuck that. I don't watch Collision, and I don't cover it, so I am not reviewing it. No way in hell. But yeah. We kickstarted the show with Kevin Knight explaining why he decided to attack Darby Allin. And he said that Darby Allin let him down, basically. He said that Darby Allin was going to retain the title, and he promised him and everyone in AEW that would happen, and he let everybody down. That was his explanation. And he says he's tired of waiting his turn, and now he's going to take advantage of opportunities and force the narrative to get where he wants to go. He thinks that Darby Allin's like the Philadelphia teams, like the Philadelphia 76ers. They just know how to blow it. Me personally, I think that this is a fairly decent explanation as to why he did what he did. It's simple, straight to the point. It is random that he turned in a blink of an eye, but at least it makes a little sense. Mike Bailey, he came out. He was a little disgruntled about what happened. He wasn't happy that that Kevin Knight turned, and he said we could fix this and all this shit. Like, what the fuck would you want to fix anything? What, so you can be with your Karate Kid Canadian ass? Come on, let's get real. I thought this was a decent segment. I think they did a great job covering what they needed to cover. Mike Bailey later on in the show said, okay, fine, you don't want to do that, then we're going to go at it. And that was his segment, and Kevin Knight bumped into MJF later in the show, and MJF thanked him for seeing the light, I guess, and having some respect towards him as a becoming champion and whatnot. And Kevin Knight said, look, I didn't do that for you, bro. When my time comes, I'm coming after that world title, and I'm gonna get your ass. And that's pretty much all that was stated in that whole entire segment. So, we cut to Renee Paquette, who is backstage with the man. Ricochet tells her he is not concerned with anything that has to do with Jericho. He says Jericho got lucky and not everyone is banned from ringside for his match against him. He says Jericho doesn't have 6 other guys to save him when he has him beat. Here he pinned Jericho twice, and that is something Jericho doesn't have over him. Ricochet says that Jericho will find out that Ricochet is out of this world. Yeah, okay. So Jericho versus Ricochet. This is a good match to open the show. And Jericho ends up winning this match by a lion salt and gets the victory. After the match is over, Tommaso Ciampa from behind hits Jericho. He hits Jericho with right hands, and he lowers his knee pad and Ciampa with a running knee to the face. So now Jericho has a rivalry with Tommaso Ciampa developing. I don't know where this is going to lead for Tommaso Ciampa, though. I mean, every time that Tommaso Ciampa's looking like he's got something going, he ends up losing instead of winning. So I ain't got my hopes up for Jericho. Or for Tommaso Ciampa. Andrade El Idolo is backstage. He says he can focus on winning the world title and beating the stupid MJF. Andrade asks MJF if he thinks that he is better than the real Latino man. I honestly believe he does. Anyway, we get a Superstation Showcase 4-way match. I don't know what the fuck that is, but okay. This was just a random match thrown together for whatever reason. It had Orange Cassidy, Roosh, Brian Cage, and Leo Rush. Leo Rush gallivanting, or not gallivanting, pretty much running around like he was a chimpanzee, which I found to be very weird. I don't understand the concept. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but Roosh won the match. Then Renee is backstage with MJF. In comes Kevin Knight. I already discussed this, so we don't need to cover that again. But after that portion of that segment, when MJF walks away, Kyle Fletcher comes into the picture with Don Callis, and he tells Kevin Knight he knows where to find him for the TNT Championship. Now, let me get this straight, though. Didn't Kyle Fletcher showed interest in the International Championship at Double or Nothing with Takeshita? Which, by the way, we didn't cover. That was not at all covered on the show, I don't believe. I might have missed it. Who knows? But now he's showing interest in the TNT title. Tell me where this makes any sense. That's something I will criticize and say that was shit. Didn't like that. So MJF comes out. There are 3 balloons with the number 3 on them. And MJF comes out and says he is a 3-time AEW World Champion at 30 years of age. He says they will be writing about him in the history books. He says they get to witness the greatness that is him in real time. He says this is the greatest era because it's all about him. He is the 3-time champion of the world. He says the most complete wrestler in the world, there is no one close. He says the people need to do the right thing. He says he wants everyone watching at home and in the arena to bow before the greatest of all time. Then Mark Briscoe comes out. And MJF says to cut his music, and he actually pulls down the MJF scarf, this large scarf flag with 3-time world champion on it. And that pisses MJF off to make him turn off the music. MJF's, and he asks Mark who he thinks he is. And Mark tells him that MJF is like a stranger in a strange place in this city. He says MJF does not fit here. It's like if a penguin was walking through the desert and not those exotic South American beach penguins. MJF was going, where the fuck are you? What are you talking about? Where are you going with this? I kind of felt the same way, MJF. I could feel your pain during this promo. He says they are in Philly. He says the people are hard-nosed grinders, some of the toughest human beings on the planet. And Max sticks out like a sore thumb because he's not tough. He says MJF thinks the world deserves to be his. He says MJF believes that he is above them all, better than all of them. And MJF believes that. Mark tells him that it was not very long ago that he pinned him. He says he wants a title shot and asks MJF if he will continue to be a soft little bitch or is going to man up. MJF tells him no and says the reason being is because you don't seem to understand this is also a business, not just a sport. And you're not very marketable, and I wouldn't wrestle you here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'd rather wrestle you at a bigger stage. But honestly, pal, you're not marketable, so I'm doing you a favor. I'm saving you the trouble of having to possibly put this company out of business and have you lose your job in the process. That we should just not have this match at all and move along. Then Roosh comes out as he's walking away from the ringside, moving up the ramp. And Roosh comes out. And he says, oh, well, you know, Mark Briscoe might be a chicken farmer, but you're a chicken shit. And MJF was like, excuse me? He goes, look, I want a title shot, Holmes. Or whatever fucking thing he was saying. And MJF says, you know what, you're on, but you're not getting it here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He said, next week I'll face you one-on-one for the world title, and I'll beat your ass. And that was pretty much it. As well as a few other added-on things that was mentioned in this promo that I don't remember off the top of my head. But this was a good segment. I liked it. Unfortunately, Mark Briscoe is getting the shaft. Why would Mark Briscoe not get a title shot, but Roosh does? To me, that doesn't make any sense, but hey, that's just me. Anyway. So, following that, we get a video package of Jack Perry running the rocky stairs in Philadelphia. That was pretty much just them kind of imitating Rocky Balboa with him leading into his match against Mark Davis. Owen Hart Foundation tournament with Claudio Castagnoli and Brody King. It was okay. Brody King ends up winning this match. Not surprised. And by the way, folks, I have gotten every single first round winners correct. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the video where they reviewed the entire tournament of brackets and competitors that are in the matches. I stated that Will Ospreay was going to beat Samoa Joe. I stated that Swerve was going to beat Bandito. I stated that fucking Brody King was beating Claudio Castagnoli and Mark Davis was going to beat Jack Perry, and he did. Both of these guys won their matches, Brody and Mark Davis. The next round, I'm predicting that Mark Davis loses to Will Ospreay, and I'm predicting in the other side of the brackets, I'm predicting Swerve is going to beat Brody King again. In the finals, we will see Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay in the finals at Forbidden Door, and Swerve will be losing to Will Ospreay. And that's how this is going to work. That's pretty much it. So anyway, back from commercial break, Adam Copeland comes out with Christian afterwards, tells the fans to shut up and sit down. And Copes asks him what is he doing. He asks if they heard them. Christian asked what he said that was so bad. It's not like he said he banged any of their mothers. He said maybe he did. And and Copeland kind of agrees. He said, well, back in the 90s, things were kind of crazy, so he might have, without knowing it. That was kind of funny. Following that, he says maybe he did. He says FTR are sitting at home wondering what it is that he is going to say. He says FTR are without a doubt the toughest, best tag team they have ever shared the ring with, and they brought out the best in them. They are what they say they are. They are the top guys. They're just not the tippy top as they hold the championships up in the air. Cub says FTR decided to have an I Quit match against two guys who were told they would never wrestle again. Between the two of them, they spent 16 years total not being able to wrestle. And he says FTR are in the rear view, and it's time to live in the now. To have some fun, and he says they will do something they haven't done in 25 years. He says tonight, for the first time in 25 years, for those with the benefit of flash photography, they will do a 5-second pose. Now, they say they're going to live in the now, but yet then they revert back to a time when wrestling actually was the greatest time in the world, back in 2000, when I was about only 12 years old at the time, and absolutely loved that shit. But yeah, personally, I thought this was great. Copeland starts whipping out actual old school cameras from back in the day when we were all kids in the early 2000s and 90s. And I was blown away by it. Unfortunately, that fun ended with the dogs. They attacked them from behind. Christian Cage took a lot of the brunt of the attack. His wrist was underneath the ring steps, and Clark Connors decided to run from the apron onto the steps and jump on top of it with Christian's wrist underneath the steps and applying pressure to his wrist as he comes down on the steps and making things even worse for Christian Cage with his wrist. Copeland was pretty much knocked out. They put the titles on both of them with them knocked out on the mat, and then stated that for those with flash photography, you're looking at your new AEW World Tag Team Champions. So Clark Connors and David Finlay are the next in line for the tag team titles. I get that they're heels, but they're not exactly what I would call number one contenders. They haven't done anything to really earn a shot at the titles. They haven't won any tag team matches together. This, to me, is just like they got nothing going for tag team wrestling from the heel side of things. So their attitude is, let's just throw this shit together. I would have rather seen Max Caster and Anthony Bowen come back into the picture together as a tag team going against Copeland and Christian Cage as heels. But currently right now, Anthony Bowens is part of the Ops. Now, there's no saying they could have just thrown Max Caster with the Ops. to give us those two back together, the Acclaimed, and voila. I would have done that. And I still say they would be more of a appropriate team because at least they've gotten wins under their belts before in the past. They're a good tag team. Sorely missed, honestly. I loved the Acclaimed and all that. So I felt like they were a great tag team. I thought they were great tag team champions. And I think they did they did great things with the tag team titles in certain aspects. Other times they kind of drifted away from the tag team titles, which they shouldn't have done creatively. And I think the Acclaim would have been a better first team to defend the tag team titles against. But right now, the way things are, Max Caster's kind of like in La La Land. Anthony Bowens has just been introduced to the Ops a week or two ago. And they haven't done anything with him unless it's on Collision, which I don't watch. So I don't know what's going on there. But honestly, War Dogs, or the Dogs, whatever you want to call them, I'm not too keen on this, but they're the only real heel tag team that we got right now. Unless you move somebody over to the heel side of things, but I don't know. But that's just my thoughts on that. Anyway, after that, we cut to the back with Prince Nana with Swerve. And Prince Nana says everyone saw what Strickland did at Double or Nothing. Swerve congratulates King on winning. He says it were up to Swerve. No one would know who Brody King is because in 2016 he broke him into this industry. Strickland says conflict creates cash, war makes money, and he makes money with Brody. Okay. Then we had Todd J versus Ava Everett and Ali Catch, which Tay Ja won in less than a few seconds. And following that, we had the Owen Hart Foundation tournament match with Mark Davis, Jack Perry, which was the main event. Good match. Way to close out the show. And Mark Davis won, and that was it. That was your show in a nutshell. I thought the match was good and nothing to cry home about, but they touched on some stories and they made sense of everything they needed to make sense of. I think the show was solid. I think what they did here was the right moves, that they made the right moves here following a pay-per-view that had some stories that needed to be touched on here, and they did that while also using the tournament to fill in time on this show. So I think they did a fantastic job. The only thing I kind of wish is they would have covered a little bit of Takeshita being turned on. That was really the only thing I kind of think they missed out on this show. And excluding that, they did a fine job, in my personal opinion. So yeah, I think they did a good job following this up. I don't think there's anything more to say except I thank you guys very much for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button if you hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.